is really happening to us. And I wanted to bring that. Yeah, so we are back again. So welcome back. So I am not going to be able to show you the video that I wanted to show. But that's okay. I won't be able to show you the video, but this video will relate to it. Now, in that video, there was a guy called Howard Nicholas. In the video, he was talking about how the European powers that created the Berlin Conference, they are still in control today, how they are ensuring that Africa never has any manufacturing base. Are you following me? They are trying to ensure, they're making sure, they're not trying to, they are making sure that Africa never has any manufacturing base. Now, coincidentally, that meets with very much the plans of the Fulani government to ensure that the West never, that we never have any manufacturing. They just see us as a resource collection point. How can you explain having refineries in Kaduna? Let me show you what I mean. Let me go refineries in Nigeria. Let me just go and do this now. You see, and 1 minute, please. I'm just going to show you what I mean now. The video, they won't let me post it, so I'm leaving that because it's not my intention to do that. Now, why our refineries are not working? I want to read this to you. I'll play you the video, but I want you to listen to this. So, forget that one for a minute. The president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Ayuba Awaba, has blamed the dysfunctional state of the country refineries on profiting few later, who allegedly have been, listen to this, have been encouraged by failed leadership over the years. Let me just, 1 second, what is going on here? I don't want that one. Okay. So, he spoke against the backdrop. He stated that during this interview with channels on Thursday. Let me play that video. I want to play that if I can find the video. I wish I could find it. What is happening is that we are being deliberately, so there's a meeting of minds, if you like. There is a meeting of minds. Let me just see if I can find that video for you. So, Ayuba Awaba. Okay, let me just see. I'll do this for you quickly. I'm going to get it to you because the video I wanted to show needed to have that section that I was talking about, but I cannot show it because YouTube are definitely hot on something. I don't know what it is, but we're going to continue. What I'd like you all to do is please subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube as you're coming in. Let's go on here. Let me go and get this video up if I can find it. 1 second, please. I just want to show you what is going on, and I will touch on the Russia-Ukraine thing. Ayuba Awaba. Okay. Let me just do that. Let me just see if he talks about that. Let me see. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to find this question here for you. If I don't find it, no problem. I will come back to it. What he basically said here, let me just go over that. He stated during this interview on Channels TV on Thursday, he spoke against the backdrop of the federal government's plan to remove fuel subsidy. Nigerians currently paying between 162 and 165 naira for liter of petrol may start paying at least 302 litre per petrol from February if the recommendation of the ad hoc committee of the National Economic Council is implemented. The NEC, however, said on Thursday that it had not taken a final decision on the issue of subsidy, adding that it was still consulting relevant people and institutions, including LLC. Ayuba Awaba said the removal of fuel subsidy would compound citizens' hardship and may also send many into their graves. He vowed that the union will resist the government within its capacity at all levels. We have every reason not to import refined products. That's what I want you to understand. That bit. We have every reason not to import refined products. We have 4 refineries that are moribund. Those refineries are new, they're not old. In India, we have a refinery that is 100 years old. Refineries can be refurbished. Refineries can be upgraded from one refining capacity to another. This can be done. Those refineries are not old. Deliberately, they are made not to work because there are a lot of incentives. Mr. Waba said. When asked to name those getting incentives, the Labour chief pointed directly to suppliers as well as those fixing the price. He lamented how both past and current governments used the problem to campaign, but ended up providing no solutions once they got to power. If you remember, the issue of the refineries has been on for a long time. Each government will come and say, "I will fix it." At the end of the day, it will not be fixed for some reasons we have mentioned. He lamented. Ayuba Waba spoke for a few hours after our former head of state, Abdul Salami, also cautioned President Muhammadu Buhari against forging ahead with his plan to remove fuel subsidy. So anyway, the reason I'm pointing this out is I'm going to also play a video of the Minister for Petroleum or whatever, or the GMD, General Managing Director. We know the minister is Buhari, by the way. The other thing to bear in mind in all of this, it ties into what the Howard Nicola was saying. I cannot play the video because Facebook have suddenly decided we can't play it. But I'll see if I can do it another way. Let's see if I can do it another way, because it's very important that people hear the message. Now, in the video, he talked about the fact that Europe sees Africa and wants Africa to have only mineral resources as what we produce. And then on top of that, Europe doesn't want us to manufacture. So the idea is to make sure that we do not become a competitor in production market. That is why I said about the meeting of minds between what Europe wants and, of course, what the Fulanese want to achieve, which is to oppress and suppress and to take our resources for nothing. So there's a meeting of minds there. So it is very important that we understand that to make the changes that we want to make, we will have to stand up for our people to create jobs. We have to change that narrative. It is very, very important. Let me see if I can play that section just on air so you can hear it yourself. But I will not be able to play the video because every time I try and do it, YouTube take the program down. It wasn't intended to. It's not I'm trying to steal something, but oftentimes it's best that you hear what is being said about the situation rather than assuming anything else or hearing me say something else. So let me try it this way. I'm sorry that this has happened, but I'm trying in all possible ways to see how I can provide you with that information without necessarily contravening the rules of YouTube. It is frustrating somewhat, but we will try and carry on. To be honest, it actually knocks things sideways because the work that I'm trying to do is to show to you what is really happening to us in Africa. You have a nation. You had Ayuba Waba, the NLC, National Labour Congress, I think it is, talking to us about how we're having 4 refineries, none of them working. That is a deliberate act. We also have, of course, Ajaokuta Steel not working. That's a deliberate act, because when you have Ajaokuta Steel working, that means that you can create iron ore and everything else. We have no electricity. Again, all of this is all tied. It's all a deliberate policy of underdevelopment of Africa. And it is time we as Africans understand that. Incidentally, I said in my broadcast, we Southerners are the key to the total independence of the entire Africa. Let me say that again. Southerners, Middle Belt, Igbos, and Yorubas, we are central to freeing the entire African continent. Once we free ourselves, the others are likely to follow suit. Then we can reconvene and reconverge as into the groups that we were before colonization. It's really important, the points being made here, that Europe wants to buy African resources dirt cheap. Those are the words spoken by Howard Nicholas, not me. I cannot play it anymore because if I play it, they will say I'm breaking the broadcast and they will bring it down. As very much they threw out what I did earlier on, and I don't want to do that. The illustration of what I was trying to do was simply to give you an idea of what that looks like. To hear Howard Nicholas, he's an economist. He's a white man. You see the picture that I put up on Facebook of the economist. And I mean, I could play it on Facebook, but YouTube have a big problem with that. And again, I was not trying to play the whole video. I just wanted to just let you listen to the bit where he talks about, let me see if I can play it here myself. I'm going to try and play it myself. So I'm going to just play it and I'll tell you what it is that is saying, rather than me letting it go again. So here we go. I don't even want to play it on air, but I'll say his words that way. Listen, I'm going to try and say his words. I'm watching him now, but I cannot play him. So he says he's going to show some charts and a couple of tables to paint a picture that we already know. Sub-Saharan Africa has been fundamental to the global prosperity. Listen to those words. Listen. Sub-Saharan Africa has been fundamental to the global prosperity of many European countries. Let me see. Let me just play it again. 1 second. Bear with me, please. I'm going to try and do it as we go ahead. So I'm listening to it because I cannot play it to you. Then I will play you this video of this Kiari guy. One minute, please. So, okay. So, 1 second. So he's trying to give, Howard Nicholas is saying he's going to make some commonsensical observations. He said sometimes it's best not to be an expert to say things. So now he's making some jokes. So because I cannot say to you, but I will explain in the words. I'm trying to listen to it and tell you and relay it to you because it's very important that we do this. I'm sorry I'm doing this on the fly, but oftentimes it's best to do it sometimes like that. Here. So it's going to give some charts and a couple of tables to paint a bit of a picture that many of us probably know. The presentation is fundamentally designed is to say this. Africa historically, sub-Saharan Africa, has been fundamental to the global prosperity of the advanced countries. So Africa has been fundamental to the growth of Western countries. Fundamental. We have been fundamental. And it's important you know this. Particularly those of you at this point, this is what people who are all this Bible, and religious people, you need to understand. When we talk to you about the fact that this thing to do with religion, and I'm sorry, it sounds like a point which I've said many times and I'm going on about it, but it's important we understand. Whilst you're busy with your prayers, this is how Europe sees you. You are fundamental to the global prosperity of the Western democracies. Now let's unpack that for a second. Let me see if I can unpack that for you. Where is it? Because these are things that really, really matters. And until we begin to understand quite powerful we are, how powerful we are, and central we are to the global economy, we're not taking that responsibility. What I've just said now is very, very powerful statement. Let me just check. I'm just trying to check as I'm doing this now. Because in many cases, many people are probably not aware. Go and look up for that name, Howard Nicholas. I cannot share it on my broadcast because for whatever reason, it's being restricted. I cannot share it. If I try to share it, it suddenly gets blocked and something else happens. I don't know, whatever that is. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to try and translate it to you for however much I can. So what it's saying essentially is that sub-Saharan Africa is central to the global prosperity of the Western world. Sub-Saharan Africa. And that includes, critically, contraption Nigeria, South, to be specific. I'll give you an example. Russia now has stopped selling nickel and it's used in all kinds of products and whatever because of the Ukraine and Russia-Ukraine crisis. And I might touch on that. Guess what? We have nickel in Nigeria. You would think if we were manufacturing, we could process it, and that could be a place for us to make funds. Now that Russia is turning off the tap, where do you think the West will go? They will be coming to us. We should, given the right circumstances, have our refineries functioning, saying, no, don't worry. If you want finished products, we'll sell it to you. But they rather want us to have only raw materials. So they will process it and sell it back to us. Can you see the psychology? This is what I keep telling us as a people to wake up. We need to wake up and understand what is being done. Let me just go back and lead some more to what is saying there. So okay, so Africa's role, as far as the European policymakers and Europe is concerned, is to be a raw material producer. That's it. They will not, listen to these words, they will not allow sub-Saharan Africans to escape from the role they have nominated us for, which is to be only raw materials producer. They will not. Listen on. They will do everything to keep sub-Saharan Africa where it is, also impoverished. Remember, in contrast to Nigeria, 90 million are impoverished. I'm just giving us a clear understanding of what is being done here. Since we've the system has been hijacked somewhat, we have to understand what is being done. At this point, I'd like you to please go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. Let's have a look. Let me just go to here. So we'll do that. Now, So now so I'm just going to be, let's listen on, because I cannot play it live. If I do, it gets taken down. So sub-Saharan Africa is absolutely vital to the prosperity of everyone else. So what does that mean? It means that our resources, you know what you see behind me? That is what they are after. We, the people, in their plans, we get in the way of that if we start producing it in our own land. They are happy to train us up, and this is where we have to really begin to understand the damage that's been done to us. They are happy for many of our youths to become scientists, to become doctors, to become whatever you want to become. Because once you qualify, they will take you out of that system. You will go, they will apply. You know, when they say nurses are short, they are short of nurses in the UK. Where do they come? They come to Africa. They take all of the nurses to feed their system so that they have a service-based industry. You've seen Buhari is in the UK benefiting from going there to use that service that they created. If you want healthcare, you have to go to UK or Europe. They don't want us to have it here. The system is because you see, if you have healthcare system, if you have functioning roads, if you have those things, that means that you are now a competitor. It's important we understand this. I hope this is making sense. Let me play the next bit of it. All the economic structures, all the global institutions, and all the academic and economics, all of the teachings all of this education in Africa is designed to keep Africa at a stage where we are only going to be providing mineral resources from our land for them to go and do the finished product. It's important we understand what is being done. It's very, very important we understand this. Really, really important. So, because the video you're seeing behind me now, when I now play that, you will now begin to see how the actions of Fulanis fits neatly into that European agenda. It's almost like they wrote the script and they gave the Fulanis that script, a part of the script to fulfill, which is to ensure the underdevelopment of any areas of mining, electricity, refineries for petrol, iron ore, Ajakuta, everything. If you look at it, it's not working. Now, the key thing is it doesn't matter what Europe is doing. It matters what we are doing about it. That's why I'm bringing this to you. Now, let's play this again. I can't share it anymore because they seem to have really gone, to town on me. I don't know what it is, but I'll play it here. Whether it is Europe, US, or China, it's always the same. They need our resources. Listen. They need Africa to be impoverished. That is to say, they need us Africans to be impoverished. Now you can now begin to understand when you see many pictures of Africa, they're designed to make Africa look impoverished. Have finished buildings, malnourished children, water aid, pictures of people receiving used clothes. This is all engineered to psychologically accept that is our place. And religion plays a big part in this as well. Many people don't like to hear when we say this. The religion, they know that that's why they insist that religion is taught to our children before the age of 5, because that's where they start the brainwashing and the indoctrination. They use all manner of tools. This is not to be angry about. It's for us to understand. Like I said, I was going to play that and really go to town, but I can't. But I'm going to play it as I'm hearing it, and I'll try and translate it to you. Go and look on YouTube. Type it and look for Howard Nicholas, an economist, and you will see what I'm saying. But for the purposes of what I'm trying to do here, it's important we talked about it. They need our African resources, and they need them dirt cheap. So in a place like now, I'm telling you, with the war now happening in Ukraine, Russia has stopped selling anything to the West. They're going to come to Africa. The nickel, whatever we have, and they want it dirt cheap. There's going to be there's already competition between China and, of course, the West to try and get those resources. Now, what we need to do is to be aware that we can produce. Many of our scientists and everything are working all over the world. Let me show you, and people like that, let me show you what I mean. Let me get you a video, and I will show you. I hope this one will let me do it. So I want to show. Oh no, hang on. Yes, 1 second, please. I want to show you a video because sometimes it exemplifies what I mean. It really exemplifies it. Sometimes it really hits home, and hopefully this will hit home. Where is it? So 1 second, please. Oof. Where is it? Here we go. One second. Okay, let me forward this and you will see it in a minute, because it's best to explain what I mean. Now, the problem that we even face now is even worse. It is now no longer about even our resources alone. Even our talents are being exported and being used. Here's what I mean. Let's get it out for you now. So we will be going out and celebrating this young man. I want you to listen to it, but in the context of what I've just said now, they don't want us to produce anything. They only want us to be end product users and to keep us impoverished. Keep in mind, it's our resources that's being used, and they're getting our resources at dirt cheap prices, as said by Howard Nicholas. Let's do this. I want you to understand. Please help me subscribe on Citizen AY on YouTube. Would really be helping us. Facebook on Facebook are playing the game, and that's okay. We're not gonna get involved in that. Let them do whatever they want to do. Now, I'm gonna play this video, and when you see this video, you will understand that in the eyes of Europe, Asia, America, we're seen, as a resource. Don't forget, as something to be used. Don't forget the same thing applied with slavery at the time. This is another kind of form of slavery. Watch this now. Let me see if we can get that going. I'm going to try and show you what I mean. So let's unpack this. I do beg your pardon if everything seems a bit scatty. I normally would have played this and I would have gotten to it, but I'm having to adjust to things as it happens and to adapt to that situation on the fly. So beg your pardon if it looks a little bit ropey, but we're going somewhere, and I promise you, when you get there, it will make sense. The idea is to make it make sense to you, so that you can understand why we have to go for self-determination. Another thing I want to add is that what we're talking about is happening all over Africa. It's not just one place. It's not just this is the same thing all over Africa. They might speak French or different language, but the agenda is the same: to keep Africa impoverished and to be able to get our resources dirt cheap prices. And that is what we have got to really comprehend and take on board. It's not about getting angry. It's not about sort of assuming, oh, how dare you, and all of that. That's what's been happening since 1884, during that Berlin conference, when they decided to carve up Africa, until we reform Africa back to our ancient kingdoms of our ancestors. This will not change. And it's important we really grasp that point. I'm trying to get this video up and running, but it's playing the game. Okay, here we go. Okay, hopefully it'll be there in a minute. So let me proceed. I'm going to play the video, play his, I'll try and translate what he's saying, because I cannot play it. If I play it, it gets taken down. So I'm going to try and do this. Now, yeah. So our role as Africans and as our continent is to be raw materials provider. They will do everything they can to keep Sub-Saharan Africa impoverished where we are. It is very important to understand that. So that's the plan. So that's a way. So that means that all of you who are busy praying and everything else, that's the very fact that you are praying, you are executing their plans, because they need many of us to believe in prayers being the solution to our answers and not take the steps that we need to take. I'm sorry, this is some people will find this really hard to take. Some people will find this quite offensive, but it's not my saying. I so wish you could hear that guy talk about it in a way that would make a lot of sense. So let me just download this one to you. Now, okay, so now I'm going to play that. This is the bit I was talking about before, and this will make sense to you, I'm sure. This is a Nigerian returning home, flying a plane to Nigeria, and he speaks in Yoruba, in broken English, and good English, proper English, explaining his pride in himself. That is part of, and it is actually, it's a plane flying home. I think it's from Atlanta or something, flying back home. And that is what I mean. Even our human resource now is now taken out, because the system that we have on ground will not allow that to flourish. You see, these are the things that we're doing. Let me play this one so you can hear. Listen to this now. Listen to him.
Welcome aboard Delta 54 from Atlanta to Lagos. My name is First Officer Reverend Nige. This is a special day for me. I'm a Nigerian-born citizen. It will be my first time calling a plane to Nigeria.
See, we're clapping. It's good.
Really appreciate everybody joining us on this flight.
It's good, but we need to understand in view of what they're saying.
Today's flight time is going to take us about 10 hours, 30 minutes, and it should be mostly smooth flights. Perhaps we might have some rugged rides coming out of Atlanta because of the weather out there. We all see it's raining. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this flight with us. On that note, long day àti lágbà Akinyo.
So he's saying to say in English, in Yoruba.
Delta 54 láti ìlú Atlanta lọ sí ìlú Èkó. Ìrìnàjò ó gbà wá níbi wákàtí mẹ́wàá àti àbọ̀. Láyọ̀ làgúnlẹ̀ ọ̀, ẹ ṣé púpọ̀. For the people waiting back there, no,
I hope you are following what is being said now. Please subscribe and share. Facebook are really doing a great job of keeping the numbers down, but this is an important message.
About 10 hours, 30 minutes for the flight.
See?
Want to sit back, relax, and enjoy.
That's right.
So now the reason why I did that was to show you. Now let's take that one out. The reason I did that is exactly what I mean. They take a potential that we have, make into a finished product, i.e. a pilot, and it now becomes part of the service that they provide for those of us who are able to afford it to come back to our land. Keep in mind, they are impoverishing our land. It's important we really understand this idea. Sorry about that. Let me see if the picture is settled now. Sorry, I know the picture was a little bit off, but I was trying to get everything working. Okay, so it is very, very important we understand the dynamics of what they're doing. When a system is prepared to use religion, economics, war, all manner of psychology to keep the people in all manner to believe impoverished, then what are you praying for? It's a system. You need to understand, this thing to do with whether you're Christian or Islam. You need to understand it is a system designed to oppress you. Let me read you something that you may want to factor in. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to just bring that up again. Notes list. Here we go. This is what I read earlier this morning. You need to keep in mind what Howard Nicholas is saying. The whole agenda of the West, increasingly China, is to ensure that we never amount to more than just providing mineral resources or human resources for them to use and benefit themselves at our expense. And it's important we understand that. It's not hate, it's not anger, it's just understanding what it is going on. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So rituals, Peter Idahosa, every time we joke, use Nigerians for rituals. Let me tell you, indigenous Nigerian people, rich, poor, young, old, you've all been used for rituals. You pray fast, pray fast, but nothing can change until you go to your roots. Thank you very much, Paul Idahosa, Peter Idahosa, my brother. That is what we're trying to make us understand. Now, let me read you this quote. When they use all means, psychological, physical, war, they call it expedition. It's actually war. They use economics, finance, restrictive practices, even subsidies. They tell us to stop ourselves. We have to restrict subsidy. Subsidy is what they give to all industries all over Europe and America. Go and check it. It's not me saying so, but the very thing is what they prevent from us having a viable industry, because they see Africa as a competitor if we start having our own industries. And these are the facts. So they would rather that we have millions of churches and mosques all over the place to occupy the minds of Africans. Do you get it? Than having industries that compete with them in producing finished goods. These are facts. This is not about being angry. This is why and our struggle to go for the southern independence as Igbos, Middle Belt, and Yorubas is very closely tied to this. And we are the key to freeing the entire Africa. We are the key. Those three areas, with our resources that you see behind me, we are the key to if we free ourselves and our prosperity is demonstrated for the rest of Africa, they will follow. Now you see why it is important for us to go for self-determination, and why the powers that be are prepared to use the foreigners to subdue us, to take over our land if need be, to continue with the status quo. I just want you to really get that concept and understand. Let me listen a bit more and see what it says to us. I cannot play it anymore as a video, unfortunately. But let's listen on. All of these institutions, political, social, cultural, economic, and all the institutions, they are designed to keep Africa where it is. All the institutions, including the religious ones, they are institutions designed to keep Africa impoverished. So it is important when you say that you're praying to God, what are you praying to? You are praying in a system that allows you to pray. Have you ever wondered, why are you praying? Why is the system encouraging you to pray? If a system is afraid of what you're doing, they won't make it available, will they? Think about that. If a system is afraid of what you are doing, they will restrict it. Why is it that prayer, Islamic and Christian, is freely available? Why? Why is it that they're ensuring that churches and mosques? Let me show you another thing. I'll read this one. The injection of the colonies, but also the whitening of the quotidian of the Africans, removing them of any form of autonomy to eat, to dress, according to sleep, to say, to pray, to organize the house, European models. Can you see? When you say you are praying, please understand it is the system they've put in place for you to pray. They put this system in place for you to pray. It is in black and white. I'm showing you. It is a system. Your prayer is not by accident. It is a system. I hope many people will understand this. I know it's hard to hear this. You know, I know it's hard to take this in, what I'm saying. When you are you are a prayer, whatever you call it, prayer warrior. Yeah, I'm a warrior. I pray. It is designed for you. Let me show you one more thing, if I can. I'll show you another thing about this. This thing about your prayer. You need to understand something. I wasn't going to show that, but I'm going to show you this now. I want to show you there's something in here. Oh, it's gone. I'm afraid. Where is it? Yes. Now look at this one. I want to show you this bit. This is what they wrote. See? I'm going to read this. This is a long one, but I'm going to read it to you. It ties into what the professor, Howard Nicholas is saying. I'm going to read that to you as well. Let me just show you. I know it's a lot to take in. I know people will feel, oh, what's this? Or what's he saying? And all that. Here's the second one. To show you. This is to show you that your prayer is not by your own. It's not by the design. It's not of free will. It's not. It says in here, this is to do with Berlin Conference. Everything I'm showing you, the beginning, the foundation of your religion goes back to the Berlin Conference of 1884 that finished February 25th, 1885. Everything I'm showing you. Listen to this. The paper of the missions in such a way that it says respect to the expansion of Christian religions, as in that it relates to the diffusion of the practical values and cultural wants of the colonized, change the symbolic systems particularly visible in religious structures that, if multiply, churches and chapels, crosses and crucifix, sending for the space of the interdict the religious expressions of Africans and devaluating our idols, witchcraft, and everything else, religious symbols, but also introduction of European symbols, taxes to Africans. So the Portuguese flag, was stuck in the land to violate the spirits, and then of course currency, once metallic, once in paper. I know this won't make sense to you when you're hearing it, but take time to go and read it again and you'll see it will make sense later. But let me listen on to what he's saying and I'll continue. I'm still going to come back and play this Kiari guide to you. Keep in mind they shut everything down. So, okay, now. So let's listen to that man a bit more. Don't know, I was going to do only a few minutes of it, but they will not let me do it. So in that case, let me do it another way. One second, please. Okay, so let's hear him again. Whether it is Europe, US, or China, it is always the same. We need Africa to be impoverished. These are the words of Howard Nicholas, not my words. It's on the video. I don't know even if I show you that now, they may even take it down. But I'm showing you this is what Howard Nicholas said, an economist, about what is being done. Tell me, how will your prayer stop that? How will your prayer stop this design designed to enslave you? I'd like you to know. People sat in the room. Let me show you a picture again, if I can find it. Yeah, I'm going to show you the picture of the Berlin conference because I don't believe in just saying. I don't say. I'm precise about what I do. This is where they decided what religion you are going to study. You may like it or not, take it or leave it. This is where they decided the kind of religion you are going to study. See? The Berlin Conference to divide Africa. It's not my words. It's there. 14 European countries. So when you pick your Bible up and you're reading it, this is the genesis. This is the foundation. It's important we understand all of this. And I know many people may not be watching it, but it is very important we understand that fundamental issue that we're talking about. So now, he said, US, Europe, and China, they want us impoverished. We have mineral resources that you see behind me in our land. But what do our people do? We are on our knees praying, when we should be refining and using those resources to improve our lives. We have 4 fine refineries not working. The government is using an excuse to import more resources and finished products using our money. We are buying bitumen that we have in our own land. That is all designed, a system designed to ensure that we never rise from our knees. We are deliberately being impoverished by a system designed to enslave our minds. Please continue to follow that one. Let me leave that there for a minute. Now let's listen to this guy, and I'll see if I can, They need, Howard Nicholas says that Europe, America, China, they need our raw materials, our mineral resources. The one you see behind me, they need it. And they need them dirt cheap. Dirt cheap. Okay? Please, let me urge us. These are really important things. And these are information. Baba Jala was right. Until Africa frees ourselves, nobody else is going to do it for us. What I'm telling you here is not designed for you to feel sorry. I'm hoping to prompt you to take collective action. And part of those steps is when we're going for a referendum. And what I'm telling you now is your Bible, the Bible in your hands. That Bible, they made sure. In that room, they wrote the words that I said. Let me show you those words again. In that room, they wrote those words. You see? The words there, the paper of the mission in such a way that it says respect to the expansion of Christian religions, as in that if it relates to the diffusion of the practical values and the cultural ones of the colonized, i.e. Africans, the change of the symbolic systems, particularly visible in the religious structures that if multiplied, churches and chapels, crosses and crucifixes, sending for the space of the interdict, the religious expressions of the Africans, and devaluating linguisticamente, idols, witchcraft, etc., its religious symbols, but also introduction of European symbols, taxes to the Africans, and the Portuguese flag, whose mast can be stuck in the land, violating the spirit. The currency wants metallic, wants in paper. These are designs. These are things that are designed to enslave you. I'm urging you, wake up. So let's listen on to this guy again. I can't play it because I cannot play it live, because if I do, they will bring it down. So let's play. Now, Howard Nicholas says that's the message, that they want us to be remaining impoverished. But Howard Nicholas says himself, it doesn't mean to say that there is nothing that Africans can't do to change that situation. That is the most important bit that I want you to hold on to. There is a solution. That solution does not include praying. It doesn't include praying. It doesn't include praying. It includes us taking physical action collectively to change things, to improve our lives. Our resources is being used. We're not getting value for money for our resources underneath our feet. Our God-given resources. And there is something we can do. By going for self-determination, by being in control of our land, we can determine who gets what at what price. Right now, we are not in control of Africa. We're not in control of anywhere in Africa, period. Now, let's listen on. I can't play it because if I do. So, when we try to make any changes, when we're going to try to make those changes, the opposition we'll be facing is going to be Europe, US, and China. Because we are, to them, a resource-endowed area that they must control. They don't want us to develop. It's important we understand they don't, because they see us as a threat to their own existence as a nation, as nations. And it's important we understand that for how long are we going to continue to go around with begging bowls when we have resources? 6 out of 8 states in the Southwest alone has got gold. 3 states has got bitumen. Ondo State has the second largest bitumen in the entire world. Look at the state of our roads. This has to change. We have to go for separation. We're not asking anybody. We are telling them we are going and nothing will stop us. That must be our mentality from here on. We are really pleased that Oloye, let me just show you the picture of Oloye if I can find you that picture for a minute. Let me just something to enthuse us. Let's listen for a few minutes to Oloye here. Just, listen to this. It's only about 2 minutes long. That's Oloye Sunday Igboho. He's in Benin. And we're hoping that there will be more things, more positive developments as we go along. We're hoping for more positive developments. And this is something that we should all be happy that it's happening.
Boys.
But, that's him there. Let's listen for a few minutes.
Sam Larry.
But the decision, we have to make changes ourselves. Nobody can do for us. We. That's already something go right there.
Next week, on 16th. They are concerned with defending their own territory.
So he's just chilling, deservedly so. We're so pleased. It's so pleased to know he's out. But we watch for future developments. And let us use this as an avenue in which to encourage ourselves to continue to go for self-determination. It's very, very important.
Yes, that's true.
So I'm going to listen to a little bit more. So we are seeing mineral. Sorry, let me talk. So that's Oloye right there.
NATO as a huge military organization getting involved, because that would escalate the situation and Ukraine
I'm going to touch on that Ukraine thing crisis a little bit. Just here's a little. I want to give a different perspective, but anyway, that's for later on.
I'm not alone.
So obviously you can see the numbers are severely down on YouTube, Facebook. So sorry, let me just sorry about that. I don't want that there. So I want to keep that away. And also I'm going to talk about. I will show you pictures about. Well, as far as possible. I have to be careful now, because there are the many Africans have been ill-treated. There was an African that was told he won't be allowed to leave Ukraine. He has to actually go and fight for Ukraine. Again, that's like going back to the colonial era when they were sending us to go and fight the wars that we had nothing to do with us. We need to be very aware of that. Now, so let me listen to the thing again, and I'll play you the other video. 1 second. I'm sorry, I don't know. Now, here is something very, very important that I want you to learn. Howard Nicholas said that if Africa does do something different, i.e., if we start manufacturing, start making use of our mineral resources, he said the living standard of those in Europe, America, and Asia, and China will fall. I don't necessarily agree that it will fall drastically, but you can see that they are dependent on our resources at dirt cheap prices. We are not getting fair price for our resources. We're not. And these are the things that we have to really look at ourselves and say, you know what? Yeah, we have to really look at this and understand what is being done. Now let's go in here again. Let's go in here again. I'm going to try and listen to what he's saying. I know it's a bit, of a drag, because it would have been better to see it, but just bear with me. He said the West will not allow Africa to take the steps it needs to take to be able to grow its manufacturing base without a fight. Those are the words of Howard Nichols, not mine. Again, I cannot play this to you, because if I do, they will take it down. So what are we talking about? We're talking about this and the use of this, the Berlin Conference, and how it's being used to underdevelop Africa. Keep in mind, this is about information. It's not about being angry. It's about knowing what has been done and then taking steps to correct it within Africa. The nations that we have now, in so-called nations that we have in Africa, they are not African nations. They are European constructs imposed upon Africa. They are not going along the natural line of nations, kingdoms. They cut across the kingdoms that African nations created. They cut across the kingdoms that African nations created. They cut across it. And it's important that we understand that those are the kind of things that we will have to change. We will have to change it. Now let's go on with this. I so wanted to talk about that in a way with the picture, but if I do, even the pictures, they don't want it. So they have several structures operating to oppress and suppress sub-Saharan Africa. They have structures, part of which is religion as well. Ideology is what they use in controlling our minds. When they say theology and all of this stuff, they're using it to occupy our minds, i.e. religion. Take it or leave it. That's what the man is saying. Now let's, I'll play on. I so wish I could play it so you can hear it, because I could break it down next to him, but YouTube are really being difficult. The job of many academics, many Western academics, is to keep convincing Africa to keep doing what we are doing. That is why many people are doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Because they keep saying, yes, it will get better, you will get better. The academics, that is why we're not in control of anything in Africa. We're not. Neither our studies, our cultural systems, nothing. Our economy, our finances, our manufacturing, there is nothing that we're, nothing. There's nothing we're in control of. So let me carry on and explain this. I'm going to try. You see, with all this ideology, what they want to show us that it is our fault that we're poor, not the fault of those who impose this ideology. The ideology of praying, believing prayer is a solution, when in actual fact, you have the resources in your land. They don't have any of these resources, and they want uninterrupted access to those resources. So they are keeping our minds occupied with prayers. It's a business. Prayer is a business for them. And the more people they can use to occupy, millions of people praying means that we are not tapping into those resources in our land to improve our lives. I'm sorry, as a Christian or as a Muslim, these are the facts. Now let's proceed. So I'm so sorry I couldn't play that video because it would make more sense. But anyway. So we even buy the books. We even pay for the books that is used to oppress and suppress us in our own land. We're paying for it. Can you see? There's nothing we can trust. No, not the medicine, not the religion, not the economic institutions, financial institutions, educational institutions. All of it is religious institutions. They are all geared to ensure the continued suppression and oppression and impoverishment of Africa collectively. These are the realities on ground. Now let me go ahead and talk more about this. I so wish I could play that, but I can't. So let's carry on for a few more minutes, and maybe we'll. Africa is specializing in the production of raw materials and perishable goods. Listen. Oh, man. So Africa is specializing in production of raw materials and basic perishable goods. The basic forces that have caused this underdevelopment remains underdevelopment. He won't discuss that because a colleague of his who happens to be Nigerian is going to discuss that. But we're only touching this small area for a bit. There are global economic structures, global financial institutions, and economic ideology. Briefly. Oh, man. The top line. I cannot. Now, I am not going to be able to. I have to stop there because he's now going into pictures and things that I cannot show you, because if I do, they will take it down. But what I'm trying to show you is that Africa and the belief in religion, the more we believe in the religion, the stronger its indication of how effective the system of oppression and suppression is. We are only proving to them that they are powerful in suppressing and oppressing us and preventing us from using our brains to actually free ourselves. Because they keep telling us, it will work, keep using it, it will work. This is designed to keep you enslaved in your land. Let me now play the video of this guy here. Sorry about that. Listen to the deliberately shutting down of the refineries. Listen to Kyari now, Mele Kyari.
Petroleum has been a big issue. Subsidy on petroleum has been a big issue in this country for over 20 years. And not only that, every corruption that you are aware of in the downstream sector of this industry is one way or the other connected to fuel subsidy. I can give you an example. Several licenses were issued for people to bring up refineries across the country, and none could deliver. Probably very, very few exceptions could deliver. The reason is very simple, because people are not sure that when you produce a petroleum product, at what price are you going to sell at the gate of your refinery? And because we know that those prices are not market determined, and that we know that there will be a subsidy element in it, everybody staggers to deliver on this. And the end result is that this burden is left to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and the government as a whole. What that
Good
means
afternoon, my brother Peter George.
Government
and
has to provide
Autos.
that
Good
gap
afternoon to you.
that exists.
Please subscribe to Citizen
And of
Hour.
course, it's very understandable for people to get angry that prices have gone up, just like the price of every commodity. When it goes up, there can be difficulties. There can be challenges that people will naturally face. But once prices go up, the other natural thing that must happen is that your income needs to increase so that you are able to procure the things that are now delivered at higher prices. You can't do this anywhere in the world if there is no productivity. And there will be no productivity except there is growth in infrastructural development, industries are able to work, and therefore there's a connection between production and consumption. What subsidy does is to remove that connection, and people are literally saying smoking cigarette and expecting results. And it requires courage to make this decision. I can share this with you.
Now,
only a Buhari regime can make this decision. The reason is very, very simple. People will not appreciate the fact that the lost opportunity is a situation where you have spending enormous amounts of resources, over 10 trillion naira in the last...
they spent 10 trillion naira. And Let me show you the exact amount. If I can find it for you. 10 trillion naira. Let me see if I can find it. No. Okay. He said it. You had him say it anyway. You had him say it. I don't even have to even. Oh, sorry. Here we go.
8 to 9 years, all trying to service that. That's also doesn't include the element of FX resources that are lost to this. So when you put all this together with all the resources and with all the distortions that it creates, the natural reaction is that, look, I don't want to lose this. I'm getting it cheap. And therefore, with this distortion, that I'm going to suffer. It's not true. Subsidy in itself, by every minute, is an elitist thing. And I can share this with you. It's only the elites who will have 3, 4, 5 cars in their house, fill their tanks, and also feel...
Much more than that. Much more than that. The elites, the so-called elites, are the ones who are working, with the people who are those who are oppressing us, ensuring that they can get whatever they want at the expense of the people. And what is happening now with this, to have not to have one refinery functioning in that contraption, is a shame on those who call themselves leaders.
Comfortable doing this. The ordinary man is not the beneficiary. First, he loses in infrastructure. Hospitals are not built, schools are not built, and ultimately the brunt of even corruption in the downstream sector is transferred to the ordinary man. Overall, you lose everything and you get nothing. So when people get angry, and I can come back to what you're saying, when people are angry, there's outbursts of anger around this. And this will coming from people who practically are not aware of this situation. They are not aware of the loss that they have. And most importantly, they are being engineered and delivered into making those statements. And we understand this very perfectly. We are the national oil company. It's our role to ensure energy...
You see, it's our role. What? What did you say again?
Security. But you can't do to ensure energy security. But you can't do this until you are able to deliver cost. And that cost is lost daily. As price of petroleum goes, crude oil goes up, you lose those value and you are unable to do many.
A nation that has 4 non-functioning refineries can come up with this excuse. So you can see how the meeting of minds is happening. The Fulanese want to take the land and they're denying us access to resources. And that time that falls in dovetails with the plans of the West to keep Africa impoverished. That is why they will not support our clamor for self-determination. It's something we must do ourselves. Let me play this and I'll come back this one again.
The outburst is very understandable, but I can also I believe very strongly also that it's misplaced because the Nigerians are not aware of the opportunities lost. Thank you very much.
So, anyway, the reason I did this, I will come back later on. It is very, very difficult to continue on knowing the things that we know. We cannot continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. The same thing is to stay in one country from Nigeria. We need to do something different. That something different is to go for self-determination. So I want to urge you all, please join us as we go on this journey of self-rediscovery as Africans, as Yorubas, as Igbos, as Middle Belt, and reclaim back what is ours from those caliphates. They are non-indigenous to our land. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be stopping here for now. I'll come back later on. I'm going to see if I can find a way to play that video again. But listen to the words, see if it makes sense. Really, it is up to us to make those changes. Nobody else will do it for us. No amount of prayer will fix that problem for us, because the prayers are designed to keep our minds occupied. They are. They simply are. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Citizen, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on.